Okay. Rightio. So Joe's just gone to photocopy some of the slides that Brenda had up there so that when we get into groups you've got the information in front of you. We'll then put the questions up on the display screen so that you can remember what they all are. But just to recap, we want to talk about the levels of care and what levels we think we might need here in New Zealand, and we'll give you the little pyramid diagram and the other diagram that Brenda had. Some discussion around difference between specialist care and special care, and also the role of volunteers in specialist care, and there's probably another one which I've missed, so we'll pop that up. So perhaps we'll go for 4 groups, 6 groups. Decide amongst yourselves. So probably, I think there's probably enough for about four groups, not to get too unwieldy, and we need to be, I've got plenty of time. We'll come back and have some discussion after about 20 minutes. Is there any questions anyone wishes to ask ahead of that group discussion? Anything for clarification? Mr. Nielsen, you've got your hand up.
Can you talk loud? Just flick it on the bottom, Kevin. Is the switch on the bottom?
Working. It says it's on. It says it's on. Yeah. Hey, Brenda, thanks for finishing by throwing a few hand grenades out there. That's pretty good of you, really. I wanted to go back to the start, just ask you the question, because you did comment, and I know it's something I find hard to get my head around. There are so many different pieces of work going on and how they link together. And I just wonder what comments you have, and maybe Simon, how your work fits with the workforce review, and how you can actually do a workforce review when you haven't actually decided what the framework might be. And who commissioned your work and who commissioned Simon's work?
It's a particularly tricky one, isn't it?
I see Brenda's staying well seated, which is probably a good idea. Now, I mean, okay. I find that working very part-time with the ministry, people see me as ministry, but actually I'm also a clinician, and I see myself as predominantly a clinician with an opportunity to have a bit of a laugh in the ministry about the whole process in the ministry. So I'm not deeply inured in ministry, and I could exit that tomorrow and still have an income, sort of thing. So I do tend to give my observations, and I find the ministry a very siloed place. Within the ministry, you've got another ministry, which is called the National Health Board. Why? Ask the minister. And you've got a very political environment where you could go into the ministry and find that your whole program's wiped because the whole team is focused on the report to the minister tomorrow. When you see the report to the minister, you think, it doesn't say much. And it doesn't, it's just like a one-pager. But it requires this huge... Anybody seen Yes, Minister? Yeah. If not, get the videos, because it's just brilliant. And there are absolutely elements of that. It's a very political environment. And instead of what we often think, we respectful people who respect authority and so on, we expect that management has got some nous and will actually facilitate what we do. Hello, sometimes that's an issue. And we expect at the ministry level that they've got great strategy and direction, and they'll do the country proud. No, it's somewhat different. It's rather more chaotic, shall we say, with these two different sort of ministry and National Health Board. And then, if you like, in terms of palliative care, we've got an interesting setup in that we've got the Palliative Care Council advisory to the minister that works actually within the ministry. And we've got an advisory group that's advising the very small palliative care team on the cancer team. Why cancer? Well, there's an opportunity, but at least we've got a home, is my view, but it doesn't fit just with cancer, and that's part of the sort of siloed thinking. Right, so come on, we need to get into groups. At the end of the day, the National Health Board is driving workforce. Workforce and National Health Board sit outside the ministry, although in the ministry. And they've chucked some hand grenades out. An opportunity arose to have palliative care nominated as part of that workforce focus. The only group with money at the moment is Health Workforce, so why wouldn't you? And at the end of the day, the minister doesn't like certain words, doesn't like strategy, doesn't like policy, doesn't like framework. Can't mention them. Otherwise, you're not getting engagement. So that's a bit of the environment you're working in. And the ministry team is me at point 2 and a senior policy analyst. That's palliative care in the ministry. Can't have a renewed strategy, so we're making an attempt to pool a whole variety of bits of work together that are a sort of common strategic implementation, shall we say. And I certainly see my role as trying to keep all the pieces of work together. The workforce was a little bit from out of left court, and that had to be done very rapidly with limited process around it that didn't allow consultation, that really had to try and meet some future scary tsunami that was coming and produce a credible bit of work that would at least stimulate some future thinking. And boy, it certainly created some stimulated thought, which is great, actually. And I think the workforce thing is a real opportunity based on the fact that there has been no logical approach to this with the needs analysis, with the what's it called, resource and capability framework, but nonetheless, it can all be pulled together. And conversations like we're having today are really, really important in terms of getting a groundswell of opinion, feeling fit, and hopefully also contribution to some of these national bits of work. And I think as regards the workforce one, it's just at this point a real opportunity to stimulate some thinking for people to put in good bits of work that say, oi, you're stupid thinking that, or, you know, okay, as long as it goes in this sort of direction. And an ability to kind of pull a rabbit out of a hat at the end of the day, Kevin. It's my hope. And the Palliative Care Council provides, if you like, an independent voice to help kick bum, because they have a monitoring and evaluation role, and I think they've got a crucial role in terms of the minister if they feel that something is really gone agly, as we say in Scotland. Out of kilter.
I get the impression from what you said and what I read in the newspaper and presentation by Professor Gorman, Health Workforce, to Hospice New Zealand, that health workforce is in fact a political driving force, will actually drive the change. Am I right?
Well, I'm just giving you my viewpoint. I think the health workforce was set up by the present national government in order to achieve exactly that, and without making a public political stance, actually utilise another mechanism, a Trojan horse again, to try and deliver policy and to do so rapidly. And
these two bits of work that have been talked about do align with each other? They fit together, or are they duplications?
Certainly my viewpoint that it does, and the bit of work before about tools, gold standards framework, could be applicable within a regional governed approach to palliative care. Absolutely.
It's encouraging.
Can I just, because Kevin, you asked who I'm employed by the Ministry of Health has commissioned this work, so it's the palliative care section of the cancer, the cancer team. But I'd just like to say that I'm a real pragmatist, and I think that there are lots of strands of work, and I think there's a huge opportunity for us to actually get out there, demonstrate interdisciplinary working, and just we can make it all work. So while some of the strands might be coming from different places, by working together, we can actually make sure that it all fits together, and that's a responsibility that we can take, rather than wondering why all of these things are happening that we've got no control over. what we can do is actually work to bring them together and make sure that it does all fit together and bring, do the best we can with it, because if we want things to be different, and they need to be, this is our opportunity.
Okay, thank you, Brenda. Thank you, Simon. I think I would absolutely agree with that. We've got a really good opportunity today to be a little bit innovative, really, in Palmerston North, and actually get all of these siloed things discussed in the one forum. So, if you'd like to break yourself up into 4 groups, the questions are on the screen.
Maybe just add that I've added another one.
Brenda keeps adding questions. We'll be here till afternoon tea. There will be some lunch though. If we get some good answers to the questions, there will be lunch. So perhaps just spend 20 minutes having a talk about whichever questions spin your wheels, and we'll come back to sort of report from the groups. If you could just tap someone on the shoulder in your group and elect them as your spokesperson, or so we'll come back about 25 to half. Well, what's the time now? Half past one's all wrong. Oh, yep. Shortly after 12:30.
I'll just make a comment about the last question I've put up, because that's one I think that's really a really important question to ask too in terms of how we deliver services currently. So what's the role of delivering generalist bereavement care? Not everybody who accesses bereavement care currently has, particularly complex issues. Are we going to be able to deliver generous bereavement care across the population, or do we need to be making sure that those who get access to specialist bereavement care are those who really need it and continue to utilise the community and all of the other things that exist in our community around providing generalist bereavement care?
I think you've lost them. I have, but that's all right.